So, as you might remember, last year, BTS leader RM or Namjoon donated 100 million Korean won to support uniformed service members while he was serving in the military. Now, at the time, this was a great news, right? A superstar, global superstar celebrity giving back to his country, especially while he was serving in the military. But a year later, this year, today, the donation has become a controversy. Why? Because a new JTBC investigation. Yeah, it's that JTBC. So let's keep that in mind. So JTBC investigation revealed that the government raised an additional 1 billion Korean won from the public after promoting RM's donation. Yet, there's no way to clearly verify how any of that money was spent. So, what began as an act of goodwill has exposed a much deeper issue. That is, the lack of transparency and accountability in Korea's public donation system. And as the story spread online through the media, through social media posts, Korean commenters expressed anger and frustration with the government's handling of funds, while some international fans interpreted it as RM being exploited. Now, I think there's some misunderstanding and some exaggeration going on. So let's have a balanced perspective, as I always do on this channel. All right. So here is JTBC's broadcast/article. After RM of BTS donated 100 million Korean won last year to support uniformed service members, the South Korean government heavily promoted his gesture and raised an additional 1 billion won from the public. But it has now emerged that no one can actually verify where that money went. Okay, so yes, there was multiple articles about it last year in October of 2024 about his donations. And according to a report by JTBC on October 15th, the Ministry of Patriots and Veterans Affairs, MPVA, has been promoting the idea that donors can specify how their donations are used. In reality, designated donations are not actually possible. And what you're looking at are the images that I screenshotted from a news video that JTBC posted on YouTube, and which they broadcasted on TV as well. And RM made his donation on September 12th, 2023, while serving in the military on his birthday. Oh, sorry. So it was back in 2023. Although, if I remember correctly, there was an article that spread last year. Hold on. So this was October 2024. 지난달 10일. Alright. Maybe I misread it. So this is there are multiple articles about it. 지난해. Alright, sorry about that. So yeah, donation was made on September 12th of 2024, celebrating his birthday, while he was serving in the military. And he joined the Thank You to Uniformed Personnel campaign, which is meant to encourage respect and gratitude towards soldiers, police officers, firefighters, and other uniformed public servants. And in his message at the time, RM said, "I've been able to truly feel the dedication of so many people in the field these days. I hope this small contribution can help the many heroes who are serving our country right now and those who have worked for peace." Now, then Minister Kang Jong-ae publicly praised RM's donations, saying that his service in uniform was a positive example for young people and that his meaningful act would support veterans and the families of those who served. And the ministry issued a formal statement of thanks, promising that his donation will be used for veterans' welfare and support programs. For those of you, actually, 보훈부 장관 강정애. This is what she looks like. and she served until this year. So she's a former minister. Now, back to the story. Oh, let me read you the full letter that she wrote at the time. We sincerely thank BTS leader RM for taking part in the All for Patriots donation campaign to honor uniformed service members. As a leader of one of the world's top groups, RM has elevated the global status of K-culture. Seeing him proudly wearing his uniform and fulfilling his national defense duty has become a meaningful example for many young people. This heartfelt gesture from RM will be a source of great strength to the veterans and uniformed service members who have dedicated themselves to protecting our everyday lives. I am also deeply moved by RM's strong sense of respect and responsibility toward the country and society, and by the way he puts those values into action to make the world a better place. The Ministry of Patriots and Veterans Affairs will do its utmost to ensure that the spirit of gratitude shared by RM grows into a broader culture of respect for uniformed service members. We wish RM good health and meaningful memories throughout the rest of his service, and all of us in the Patriots and Veterans community across the country will continue to support him wholeheartedly. October 2024, Minister of Patriots and Veterans Affairs, Kang Jung-hye, signed. So, the publicity around RM's donation led to a surge in donors. So, the number of people making designated donations jumped from 1 to around 2,000, and the total donation amount reached 1 billion Korean won. By the way, 1 billion. Why am I not? 1 billion KRW to USD. Currently, is around 700,000 US dollars ish. Now, but under current law, all donations are pooled into a single national veterans support account. Okay, so that's the issue, making it impossible to actually allocate donations to specific causes, even if donors select one. So that's the heart of the issue, the controversy going on. Now, the minister revised enforcement regulations to make it seem like donors could choose categories such as honor culture, senior welfare, independent support, medical rehabilitation, or all fields on its online donation platform. Now, a ministry official admitted that in practice, it's difficult to execute detailed allocations, and acknowledged that they changed the regulations for promotional purposes, even though the donation scope remains restricted. Okay, so that was what JTBC broadcasted. Now, this story, it highlights a troubling gap between public messaging and actual government practice, right? RM's gesture was super sincere, and it was leveraged to boost donations nationwide. And thanks to Army, largely, it jumped 100-fold, starting with RM, and it grew to 1 billion Korean won in terms of donations. But the promised transparency was never real. So many donors likely believed their contributions were going directly to the causes they selected, when in fact everything was funneled into one opaque account. And from a public trust perspective, this kind of mismatch can be damaging, not just for the ministry, but also for, celebrities whose goodwill is unintentionally tied to the government's handling of funds. And in this case, that celebrity is RM, right? And it raises larger questions about how public donations tied to national campaigns are tracked and reported in Korea. But I gotta say, the story itself isn't actually saying the government stole RM's donation. That's not clear from this broadcasting, although that might be the case. But some people are truly believing that the government simply stole the money. What it points out, though, that is that the donation system run by the ministry is so opaque that there's no way to clearly track where the money went. Okay, so that's the issue. And all donations go into one big pot, even if people try to choose a specific category when they make donations on the website. So, in short, there's no real transparency or accountability. That's why a lot of Korean comments are basically saying things like, we cannot trust the government, or this is why donating to the state is pointless. And they are, pretty angry. So it's aimed at how the government handled the donations. So it's a general distrust that's been building for a long time. But there are some international fans. Some fans are reacting like this is a personal attack on RM, saying things like free BTS from South Korea and they lost RM's money. But that's not really what is going on. It's not that RM was exploited personally. It's a much bigger systemic problem with how public donations are managed. Also, the article kind of uses RM's name to get people to click. That's what I felt when I first, read into this issue. Before I read an article, I first heard about it online, and I was like, okay, apparently a lot of people are angry, so let's see what the Korean government did this time. But when you actually look into the article, so the titles are like this. The JTBC article, exclusive, 10 billion Korean won collected following RM's donation. Veterans Affairs Ministry says, we don't know where it was spent. So it kind of sounds like, it makes you think like they lost the money and they literally stole the money. Or how about an article like this? People donated after RM. 1 billion Korean won raised for promotion, but the outcome turned out to be disappointing. So it's kind of like rage bait. And it's a common media tactic, right? Attach a big celebrity's name like BTS, and it's always BTS, to highlight a government issue. Why? Because it just makes the story louder. And although it may not be fair to single out JTBC, but what JTBC has done in the past, although it's the media in general, Korean media in general. And I thought it was kind of funny and interesting how they used this footage from RM's military discharge event, and him wearing sunglasses and playing the sax for a serious issue like this. I don't know. It was kind of funny at the same time. I feel like RM probably never guessed that his footage and image of playing the sax at the military discharge event will be used for issue like this. Legendary. Anyways, so yes, it's fair to be angry about how the donation system is run, but it may not be exactly fair to twist this into the government exploited RM or something. It may be the case because we don't know specifically how the money was used. But the problem is the lack of transparency and accountability, not some scheme against BTS. At least for now, that's how I digested this issue. If anything, RM's donation just exposed a flaw in the system that was already there. So that's one positive aspect that we could get out of this issue. But there's a chance that JTBC was covering this issue, using BTS RM's name as a tag to attack the government. Probably a previous government, because this minister was, serving during Yoon Suk-yeol's presidency. But anyways, it's easy for stories like this to spiral into a finger pointing. But I think at its core, this isn't just about RM. His donation simply put a spotlight on a system that was already flawed, and the real issue is how a government can promote, what did you call it? Designated donations without the structure to make sure they are actually used as promised. And that also reminds me of the recent donations that BTS member Suga and ARMY made, right, to Minyoongi Treatment Center at Severance Hospital. So fingers crossed that they will take care of and handle the donations well for the specific purpose to which ARMY donated their money, including many of you guys, right? But that's a separate issue. I believe that they will handle it well. Anyways, what happens next? I don't know. Should there be a legal push to make donation spending more transparent? And how much responsibility does the government have to report back to donors? And when a celebrity's name is used to boost a campaign, do they deserve more clarity about where the money goes? So what do you think? Is this just another case of poor governance or a turning point for accountability? I hope that the latter happens. All right. So hopefully this was informative and clear things for you. And as always, feel free to discuss in the comment section, and let's stay positive, respectful, and classy. Thank you guys. Peace and love. Bye-bye.